Yeah, welcome guys again. Today I want to expand into another sacred sexuality session. And today, my intuition told me to schedule time to discuss desire, sexual desire, desire in general. And I would like to tie it and to connect desire with healing opportunities, with becoming aware of things, with bringing consciousness to what is it that you desire? Why do you desire it? If you don't allow yourself to desire it, why is that? What's present for you that is on the way? And maybe just creating space and time to really discover what your desires are, because maybe you don't create time to even think about it. So I would like to really create another session to hold space, to have a conversation about this topic. Um, as always, the intention is to be very respectful with everybody, to understand that there is a lot of conditioning, belief systems, different kinds of religions. We all grew up in different places with different upbringings and different relationships with sex, with self pleasure, with what that means. And I would like to hold space for all of it. I would like to be respectful. I would like to be curious. And this is not a place to tell anyone else what to do, to criticize, to fix anything. I would like this container to be a sacred container where we all enter it with the willingness to listen, with the willingness to to share if you feel called to. You don't have to if you don't want to. Um, yeah, and to hopefully live with more awareness of yourself, with more inspiration to explore. Okay. Um, yeah. Hi, Kelly from Philadelphia. Um, yeah. So I would like to start by, first of all, like really talking about desire, right? Sexual desire. What is that? What does that mean for you? And especially what comes up for you in your body emotionally and physically, what comes up for you when you think about sexual desires. Let's just start there. Hola, Patri from Galicia, Spain. Welcome to the session. Yeah, so I would like to start the conversation by really sharing what comes up for you, what you feel when we talk about sexual desires. Is that something that you are very familiar with? Is that something that you would like to have more time to explore? Is that something that feels uncomfortable, or maybe there is resistance there? Uh, Maybe there is fear. Maybe, I don't know, what's present for you about that. So, hi, Elena. Martin says, sweet intro. Thanks, Emilio. Curious about this session. Hello from Holland. Hi, Martin. Yeah, curious to know why are you curious about this session. And yeah, it's just important to really recognize first, what is your relationship with desire? And do you create time to explore what that is for you, to discover what you want, what feels good to you? And if you have a partner, can you communicate that clearly to your partner? And can you hear from your partner what their desires are? Sarah says, definitely resistance, but I think the resistance is fear based. Amazing, Sarah. So this is a clear example. Thank you for sharing. This is a clear example of a healing opportunity, right? Healing opportunity, or realigning opportunity, or reframing opportunity of changing the meaning that we are giving to something. Because let's start by saying that sexual energy, let's just say that that's neutral. It's not good, it's not bad, it is what it is. It's just a neutral thing, right? And some people may look at it from one angle, and other people from another angle, and other people may have rules that they have to follow, or that they feel they learn that are the norm. And if you go against those rules, it feels that you are going against something that's supposed to be correct, and now you are incorrect. I don't know, like the wording doesn't matter how you use it. What matters is the emotion and feeling that you have. And it's important to recognize that when you are feeling something in you, that is an opportunity for you to get curious about, wow, I am feeling resistance. I am feeling fear. I am feeling discomfort. I am feeling excitement. I am feeling curiosity, and I want to explore this more. So, whatever is present for you, it's an opportunity, a starting point to dig deeper. Um, yeah, Patrick says, I also have fear to give another person the power to hurt me. Wow, Patrick, that's a deep one, sister. Wow. So you have the fear to communicate to another person what you truly desire, because you are afraid that the other person is going to use that information to hurt you. So that is another opportunity for you, Patrick, to really connect and be with that. And I'm sure that maybe in the past that's what happened to you, right? And it's important to protect yourself, and it's important to understand that sharing your desires with someone else, you can choose how that happens. You can choose to do that when there is safety, when there is consent, when there is clear communication. Um, yeah, there are things that you may need to be able to go to that vulnerable place. But it is interesting that that's what you feel, that that's what you are afraid of. And this connects with a concept called world occurring view. World occurring view. That means that there's a tendency on how we tend to look and believe the world is, right? So, for example, if I say, all women are here to hurt me, unconsciously my mind is going to look for reasons of why women are hurting me. If I have the world occurring view that all women are here to serve me and to love me, then my brain is going to look for signs and for things to make that statement true. So just dropping it out there, that it is an opportunity to really check in about, what do I believe about the world? What do I believe about women? What do I believe about men? And then really get curious about that and use that as information so that you can understand the reasons why you may feel fear. And then you can maybe explore different ways of, how can I change my relationship with this? How can I reframe the meaning of this? Or what do I need to honor that fear that is present and it is there for a reason? How can I honor that fear? And what do I need in order to move forward so that I can honor my fear, but I can still move forward with my desires in a way that feels good to me? And yeah, it's very interesting. And thank you for sharing and being vulnerable, Patrick. David says, no fear, but at times I fear it may overshadow other things I should need to do to walk further along my path. Emotional deters me. Yeah, so David, if I'm understanding you correctly, you feel that sometimes it may overshadow other things that you should or you need to do um, to further along your path. So you are afraid, or you think that because if you spend time exploring your desires, that can overshadow other important things that you would like to do? Is that, am I getting it right? Can you share an example that we can all understand if you are willing to? Kelly says, I'm struggling with having different desires from my partner. I don't want to hurt someone I love, but also want to be authentic to myself. Yeah, Kelly, thank you so much for sharing that. So I am struggling with having different desires from my partner. I don't want to hurt someone I love, but also want to be authentic to myself. This is a beautiful comment, Kelly, and I really honor your vulnerability in sharing this with all of us. This opens up the door into communication with a partner, right? How can we bring our desires to a partner in a way that you can honor yourself and what you want and need, you can honor them, and you can both decide together how can you move forward exploring them. And this is a beautiful conversation that can include creating a container of communication that is safe. Safe means you are both entering the container with willingness to be curious, to willingness to speak your truth, to willingness to hear each other's desires without expectations or attachments to what's going to happen, okay? And then explore together how can you honor your partner's desires with an open heart? What are you willing to do with an open heart? What is your edge? What is your boundary? Because sometimes your partner may bring a desire that they have that it is not your desire. And maybe you bring a desire that you have and you want to explore, and maybe your desire, it is not their desire. And there is nothing wrong with that, because if you learn about a desire that your partner has and he or she is requesting, they are requesting what they would like, now you have all the information to really make a choice, right? To really be honest with yourself and, okay, I hear you, I hear your desire, I understand what you would like to explore with me, and you check in with yourself and then you say, okay, can I do that with an open heart? Even though that is not my desire, is there any constriction, any resistance in me to not be able to deliver that, explore that desire with my partner in the way they want to? Okay? And if there is something in you that is telling you, I don't want to do that, then how much of that are you willing to do? How much of that desire are you willing to explore with an open heart? And this is also an opportunity for you to recognize the reason why you are unable to explore that desire with your partner. Because if we start with the foundation that everything is neutral, and you are facing a resistance, you are facing something that feels, I don't want to do that, or I feel hurt by doing this, clearly there is something in there for you to explore. Because otherwise you will be able to just be there and do it, and it will be neutral for you, right? And then the same happens for you and your partner, right? Like you can take turns. And then some desires may be combined and they will align, but some other desires may not align, and that is totally okay. I don't think there is nothing wrong with that. I'm just curious to know if that resonates with you guys. What do you feel about this? What is your opinion about this? About bringing your desires to your partner, about not having the same desires, about creating a communication channel with your partner so that you can talk about this in a safe way. So David says, yes, if my heart is fueling desire, then my brain alone is left to fuel my day to day. and I fall out of balance. Yeah, so David, you are talking here about a desire kind of taking over, and then you getting lost in that desire to the point that it's actually controlling you. Am I correct in here? Am I getting it right? So you are afraid that a desire will be so strong that it's going to make you unbalanced, and it's going to like take too much of your energy and your attention to the point that you won't be able to kind of be present with it. Is that what I'm getting? Yep. Okay. Yeah, David. So that is yeah, Kelly, I hear you. Thank you for your reflection. Yeah, Kelly, feel free to share any further information or any further reflections if you want, and we can keep chatting about that. Um, that is mine. That is what's coming up for me about your comment. It's very powerful and it's really relevant for all of us because I am in a relationship. I have desires that my partner doesn't have, and I am in the same boat as you. Sometimes I feel afraid to bring my desires fully because I feel that I'm going to hurt her. I feel, who am I to deserve this? Part of me feels, oh, this is like really too much to ask. I don't want to ask this. It feels uncomfortable. And those are all opportunities for me to really be honest with myself, to explore what's happening for me. Because I can always ask my partner, hey, are you open to hearing some of my desires? And of course, I will enter that container to the best of my ability without having expectations of her doing anything. But I don't want to rob her the opportunity to say yes or no because I have not even shared my desire. So if she doesn't even know what my desire is, how can she say yes or no? How can she check in with herself to see, okay, I can do this with an open heart with you. It is not what I want, but I am available to explore this with you because clearly it's something that is going to serve you. And then most likely vice versa is gonna be the same. Most likely she's going to ask for something that may serve her, and maybe I don't really care about that, or it wouldn't be my desire, but that doesn't mean that I cannot do it for her, with her, and explore it. And always when you start this conversation, like really honoring boundaries is really important, consent, right? So what am I willing to do with an open heart? What are my boundaries here? And really aligning together in what that looks like so that you enter the exploration of that desire with safety, and you can even have a safety word. If for any reason any of you feels too triggered or something happens, you can say the trigger word, the safe word, and then you agree on what happens. Normally, what I would recommend if you use a safe word is you pause everything, you stop everything, and then you maybe sit in front of each other, give some distance, and then breathe together, and then just debrief. So what happened? What do you need? And then that you can decide what that looks like together with your partner so that you can create that safety together. Okay? So David says, me too. When that request for conversation is met with resistance, then it's hard to find a way to state the desire. Yeah, David, of course, if you are noticing resistance to even starting the conversation, clearly that doesn't feel very safe in that moment. And in that moment, maybe what's needed is to create more emotional connection first that maybe doesn't go as deep. Maybe you don't share your sexual desires right away because clearly there is need for, maybe there is safety, maybe there is need for consent, maybe there is need for validation, maybe there are things that are lingering in you or your partner that maybe need to get clear. Maybe there's need to be some repair that needs to be done. So that's why having a practice of either imago dialogue or either sitting in front of each other and just sharing what's happening and be seen, having some sort of communication that creates that emotional intimacy can create then deeper layers where you may feel safe then to go and explore uh, your sexual desires together. So maybe that's what's needed first, right? Um, yeah, so David, I will really get curious about what is the resistance about. Um, so when you are requesting a conversation and you are facing resistance, so let's just get curious about that resistance. What's happening there? What is the fear, or what's present there for you and your partner when that's happening? And maybe that's the starting point, right? Uh, so I love this conversation. Thank you for your brave wisdom facilitating a sometimes awkward, challenging topic. I wish you could record your life. So many gold nuggets. And now I have to leave. Thank you, Emilio, full of admiration for the work you share with the world. So, Joe, good news is that I am recording this and I am putting it in my podcast. So you can listen to it in my podcast if you want. Uh, we have beautiful conversations about everything else. Yeah, David. So, another entry point for curiosity, right? So, you have beautiful conversations about everything else, but this specific topic, for some reason, there is resistance. So, I don't know if your partner is open to talking about this. Maybe there is something else happening for your partner that maybe you are not aware of. Um, you cannot force someone to have this conversation if they don't want to. Okay? It is sad sometimes, but you can express how you feel about that. You can express how important this is for you. Um, but I'm sure that there is something else happening. And I'm sure that the more emotional intimacy you create, the more deeper, the deeper you will be able to go. And hopefully then at some point talking about this topic can be doable and available. And maybe right now it's not. So Martin says, for me, sexuality is so connected to how much I am in flow with life and allow creativity to flow, fun and desire, and so much more. Yeah, block on desire or block on life or block on creativity, all connected. I don't feel like sex if I am not free, that there is fun and carelessness in the best sense of the word. Yeah, Martin, thank you so much for connecting sexuality, sexual desire with the flow of life, with life force, with creativity, with energy. And I like what you said, that if you don't feel connected, if you don't feel free, if you don't feel that you're having fun, then you feel blocked, and then that blockage translates to sexual energy, of course, and translates to sexual intimacy if you do have a partner. This is why there is a very beautiful healing opportunity in the sexual arena with a romantic partner, because when you enter intimacy, sexual intimacy with a romantic partner that you feel safe with, and there is consent and there is clear boundaries, um, you can get in touch with things that are happening in your life that maybe you don't have access so easily in other areas of life. So when you enter sexuality with a partner, you are entering a very vulnerable arena. You are vulnerable physically speaking, you are being completely seen, you are vulnerable in sharing deep things about you, that, as someone said, Patrick said, that they can use that information to hurt you. They are seeing a lot of you, and that can be very scary. Also, sometimes when someone is seeing so much of us, sometimes it is overwhelming. Receiving so much love and so much presence, sometimes it is too much, and we may sabotage that. Our nervous system may feel like this is too good to be true, this is too intense. I have not been seen like this ever before, and I don't know what to do with all of this. So that can also be a reaction, that we may have. Um, but yeah, there is a very strong connection with healing opportunities, aligning opportunities, transmutation opportunities. You can use the words that you want, but when you enter that arena with someone else, many of these opportunities may show up. You may discover things about you, edges that you may have, blockages and resistance that you may experience, and being able to explore those with a partner with consent and safety can be a very healing journey, a very emotionally nurturing experience. uh Yeah. So David says, I definitely don't push or force. I do wonder if there are early trauma of some kind. Yeah, David, I'm curious to know if, so you say that you don't push and you don't force, but have you been clear about how important this is for you? Have you been clear about, I want to explore deeper intimacy with you? I want to explore, I don't know how to frame it or what words to use, but sometimes we believe that we are communicating to our partners something, but the truth is that we are not being clear enough, and our partner doesn't know what we are trying to say. So I'm just curious to know if you have been completely honest in what you need and why you need it, what you would like to explore. Patrick says there is a difference in expressing a desire for something you want to give or that you want to receive. Yeah, Patrick, this is a beautiful differentiation, right? Uh, and this takes me to the circle of consent, where it's a practice where you practice actually this, right? You practice. So, what do I desire to give? What do I desire to receive? And then you have to connect with what that is for you. And then after, you have to be able to express that very clearly so that your partner can understand what is it that you want to first give to them, so that to make sure that they want to receive that from you with an open heart, and what do you want to receive from them, so to make sure that they are willing to give you that, um, with an open heart. And then there are different questions that you can ask to play this game, because there is a game about this that you can take it as deep as you want. But basically you can ask something like, so what would you like, or so how do you want to touch me for your own pleasure? For example, that's one question. How do you want to touch me for your own pleasure? So basically my partner is going to touch me, my body, and they're going to touch me in a way that they like. So this is not about me or what I want. This is about me giving them access to my body so that they can explore something that they desire. So they may say something like, I would like to touch you this way, I would like to do this to you. And then I can say, yeah, I can do that with an open heart. I can allow you to do that to me. Yeah, that feels okay. Or I can say, no, that doesn't feel good to me. Maybe you can touch me here this way, but that doesn't feel good. So that's the boundary for me. So that is one example of how my partner expressing that desire is uncovering something in me that maybe I wasn't aware of. It's like, wow, like why am I feeling resistance about this? And then another question can be, how do you want me to touch you for your own pleasure, right? And then now it's gonna be me touching my partner, and she's gonna tell me how she wants to be touched, where she wants to be touched. And then I can have the option to say, I can do that for you, or I can do this, but I cannot do that, or I am not willing to do any of it. And then again, it's an opportunity to really get clear on, okay, so I can see where you are at. I can see the boundary that you are stating. So I know that maybe asking for this desire right now is not doable. But that doesn't mean that in the future it may be. Because when you are exploring these things, You are always discovering edges in you that you are gonna be working against. And the more you work on those edges, the more things you are going to transmute, to reframe, to uncover, and you are going to keep moving forward through your journey. And maybe what today is a no, maybe tomorrow or next week will be a, yeah, I can do that. It's not exciting for me, but I can do it. And maybe 3 months from now, it is your desire. So who knows, right? You never know. But yeah, this is a very, it's a very good conversation to really differentiate about what do I want to give, what do I want to receive, and what are the desires on those kind of arenas. Um, Super sweet response. Thank you so much, Emilio. You are welcome, Martin. David says, since the beginning, yes. Feel I need to say that my desire in all things is to make others happy. So there is some people pleasing tendencies here, David. I'm hearing also that we have been married for 30 years. Yeah, David, amazing. 30 years is a really long time. So it's really great to see you here, David, after 30 years, being curious about this. It's honestly, it's really nice. It's very refreshing. Um, yeah, there is, when it comes to desires, when it comes to really connecting with what is it that we want and expressing that, there are a lot of things that can get on the way. I am a people pleaser too. I am afraid of disappointing others. I am afraid of rejection. I am afraid of feeling abandoned. So, as you can imagine, if I sense that one of my desires is going to not be very well received, or is going to be maybe a little bit edgy for my partner, you can imagine that I will hesitate to bring it to the table. You can imagine that I will probably have my doubts about, I don't really feel like sharing this. But by me doing that, I am not honoring myself. By me doing that, I am not giving my partner the opportunity to see me. I'm giving my partner the opportunity to maybe say yes to exploring that desire with me. I am not giving my partner the opportunity to, by me sharing my truth and my desire with her with an open heart and without having an attachment, that maybe she may discover, wow, I feel so much resistance to this desire. And that is an opportunity for her to really do work about that. Why am I feeling so much resistance about this? Because if she's feeling so much resistance, there is something in her that is creating that blockage. And it is a blockage. Okay? Anytime that you cannot do something with an open heart, there is a blockage of some sort there. Because otherwise, we will be completely open to doing anything because it's neutral. It's not, we wouldn't be afraid, we wouldn't have a limiting belief, we wouldn't have any conditioning, we wouldn't have any rules that say that that's good or bad. It's just sexual energy flowing through. So anything that is blocking that is because we have been told that don't deserve that. We are too much if we ask for that. What I feel I want is dirty, or I feel shame about it, or maybe in the past I did share this with someone else and that person really hurt me or betrayed me or whatever. So there are so many reasons why we create these blockages. And sometimes we have opportunities to unblock that by doing this exercise, by being able to express and connect with the desires that we are experiencing. So yeah, I think that it's so important to be honest with yourself and to be honest with your partner if it feels safe. Yeah, you never know until you speak up. Absolutely. Yeah, David said 29th on Inside Timer, still working on my blogs. 29th day. Yeah, David, we all have blockages. We all are working through our own stuff. You are not alone. We are all on the journey, and it's important to really be willing to look at these things. Sarah says, I always said, make love to my brain first, and my response will be a lot more positive towards you. Otherwise, it creates anger and resentment. Yeah, I love that, Sarah. And this brings the conversation to another layer that is so important, right? Because you said, make love to my brain first, and then my responses will be a lot more positive towards you. So, guys, how will it feel if any desires that you discover you have, you can give them to yourself? How beautiful that will be, right? Let's say that you are walking down the street and you see a person and you just feel attraction. It's like, wow, I feel attracted to that person. And then instead of you shutting down that because it's wrong, because maybe you have a partner, I cannot be thinking these things, you sit with that and you get curious. What am I attracted to? What is this desire trying to tell me? And maybe that desire is telling you, wow, I really feel attracted to the radiance of that person, or I really feel attracted to the independence that I sense from that person, or I really feel attracted to the confidence that person is moving and dressing, and they just feel so confident. And I am attracted to that. So that desire that at the beginning feels like a desire, first, you don't need to act on all the desires that you have. Second, it is a desire that you are experiencing because there is an energy, there is an attribute that you want for yourself, that you feel resonance towards. So all of a sudden, that person has signaled to you, wow, there is something I want for myself. I want to be more confident. I want to be more confident. I want to be more radiant. Uh, I want to be able to dress the way I like and feel good wearing these clothes, and don't be afraid of what people will say about me. So all of a sudden you have an opportunity to take that desire that it felt like you had to go outside to get it, and now you can bring that home and you can say, how can I bring that to myself? And it's not easy to do it, but it's a different way of looking at desire. It's a nice, curious way to listen to the desires that you are experiencing and then go deeper and deeper into what are they trying to tell you. What are these desires trying to tell me? I don't need to act on them. I can be curious about them. I can create space for them. I can feel them. And then I can decide, okay, how can I integrate this in my life? Or what am I learning about this desire that I'm feeling? Maybe you are seeking more connection. Maybe you are feeling that you want more depth. Maybe you are feeling that I just want to feel this with myself and with my partner, right? So yeah, it's just another way of looking at this. So Marjorie says, you mean that if you have a strong personal relationship reaction to something just being raised, right? Not just acts that don't appeal to you. Yeah, Marjorie, this is like in my experience, for example, sometimes I am walking on the street and maybe I see a person that I feel attracted to. It's like there is something about that person that I feel attracted to, right? And then part of me can go to the, oh my God, Emilio, that's wrong. What are you doing? But if you can sit with that and you can be curious about it and really think, what is it that I'm feeling attracted to? I start to discover like, wow, I really like the way this person is displaying themselves. Or I really feel attracted to, wow, their clothes are so beautiful and colorful, and it just feels so radiant. And it's just so, it's like a bee with a beautiful flower, right? It just gets attracted to it. So that tells you that, wow, I am resonating with that attribute. I am resonating with radiance, or I am resonating with the confidence that that person has to be able to dress that way, to be able to be so radiant, and to don't be afraid of be shining. So that means that, wow, somehow I am craving that. Somehow that really, I resonate with that. So that desire that at first it felt like sexual, it turns out that it is a blockage that I have in myself that doesn't allow me to be that. And when I see that, I feel desire for it because I don't have it right now, or I don't allow myself to go there, or I would like more of it in my life. So that is one example about. Uh, yeah, Martin says, I wish I had more of those. You mean desires? I'm sure you do have a lot. Yeah, so this is another interesting way of looking at desire, right? You look at a desire, you try to listen to it, you try to learn from it, and then you try to allow yourself to create more of that in your life. And it's wonderful when you can do that for yourself first and don't expect someone else to do it for you, because it's very easy to want your partner to do something for you because that's what you need and want. And I'm guilty of that. So many times I want my partner to do something for me for my own benefit, and somehow I am not able to give that to myself, and I am kind of dependent on on her to do that for me. And when I enter a relationship with that energy, my partner can sense that neediness. And that neediness, it is not sexy. It is not something that she's attracted to. And sometimes I get in that cycle of, but I want that, I am not receiving that, so I get frustrated and I get impatient. And then the more impatient and the more frustrated I get, the more moody I become. And the more moody I become, the less sexy I am to her. And then she just doesn't want to have anything to do with me. So I am pushing her away by me doing that behavior and getting lost in that cycle. So it will be better to really sit with my desire, to really sit with my neediness of her doing something for me, and to really understand, why do I need this? Why am I dependent on this? Because there is nothing wrong about feeling desire. But when you have the expectation or you have the need for someone else to do that for you, and if you don't receive that, you get angry and frustrated and impatient, there is work to do. In my case, that's something that I have to do work. And right now, sometimes I have no idea what that is. I don't know how to get out of that cycle. It's so painful. So this is one example of the relationship with desire, right? Um, so Marjorie says, David says, yes, more depth. We have a beautiful and strong relationship otherwise. Amazing, David. Marjorie says, I mean that a strong gravitation or aversion can reveal something internally, while others are just not for you, but evoke no emotional or critical reaction. Yeah, Marjorie, all these desires that externally you get attracted to, like in my experience, especially when I did this 21-day of no masturbation, and I really was trying to understand the depth of the desires that I was experiencing and the reasons why I needed something. And then I started to really look deeper into, okay, I'm feeling attraction to this person. Why? Oh yeah, I am feeling attracted to a trait, to a quality, to an energy. And then I always flipped it back. How can I give myself that energy? How can I embrace that energy more? And it had nothing to do with the person. It's not that I wanted to go and do something with that person. You know what I mean? But that person is signaling, is kind of mirroring, is kind of like energetically telling me, oh, that's something that I am attracted to. So how can I bring that in? How can I resonate with that on a different way? And then that kind of like helps me understand this kind of desire and what it's trying to tell me. I don't know if it makes sense. I'm still trying to figure out what that was, but this is kind of how I can put it into words. I hope that this is making sense. Um, but yeah, like really try to get away of critical reaction, judgment, any shame. Just really allow myself to be present with whatever is coming up, and don't put it, no, don't put it, push it down. Don't feel bad about it. I really, okay, I'm feeling this. Let's get curious. Why am I feeling this? What is it that I want from this? What feels good about this? What is underneath it? And then just allow myself to be present with that without having to act on it. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just an interesting way to learn about yourself through what you are craving. Sometimes you are craving something sexually, sometimes you are craving something physically, sometimes you are craving something socially, sometimes you are craving a kind of energy that maybe uh, you don't have enough of in your life. And sometimes people, experiences, memories, objects, they may trigger that in you, and they will help you awake you to that. This is why sometimes when we are talking about entering an intimate relationship with your partner that you trust, if you can do some role playing, for example, that can be really fun and powerful, because role playing can be you expressing a desire that you have, and then you are sharing that with your partner, and then you together are going to act on it. So for example, I don't know, imagine that um, I am visualizing, wow, I would love just a fantasy. I am at home, and then all of a sudden I open the door, and then this beautiful woman is there, and then her car broke down, and then she comes in, and then I don't know, she seduces me in whatever way my imagination takes me. And then that is a fantasy I have, and that is a desire that I would like to explore with my partner. So imagine if you can share that with your partner, right? And imagine that your partner says, yeah, that's fun. I can play with you in doing this. And then all of a sudden you act on that desire and fantasy. And then you kind of role play. And then through that role playing, sometimes you're going to discover things in you that you are resistant to, things in you that you are not letting fully flow through you. Maybe you are gonna feel like, oh, this is doesn't feel right. I don't know. You are going to start experiencing maybe blockages, maybe edges, maybe discomforts, maybe resistance. Maybe you discover something that brings you a lot of pleasure that you didn't know about. And that's the power of being able to play with these desires with your partner. And this is why, in order for you to do that, you have to first be able to connect with those desires yourself. You need to allow yourself to experience them and to really connect with what is it that you want. And then you have to be able to express that in a clear way. And then doing all of that, sometimes it takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of emotional work. Sometimes it takes a lot of breaking patterns, breaking dynamics, changing limiting beliefs, questioning rules and conditioning that maybe you have of what's right, what's wrong, what's adequate, what's accepted, what's not. And then that alone becomes a lot of healing, a very healing journey. Is this making sense, guys? Just curious to know. And do you guys have any questions, anything that you would like to ask? Becca says, could a sense of emotional safety and security in someone be a trait that is attractive? Becca, absolutely. For women, at least hearing from my partner and women around me, one of the most attractive traits of a man is when a man is emotionally safe, emotionally available, when a man is create safety, when a man asks for consent, and consent sometimes is a very juicy. For my partner, for example, she says, consent when you come and you ask me, can I do this to you? That's sexy for her. And for me, that feels constrictive. So, yes, absolutely. A sense of emotional safety, security, presence, consent, um, attunement, sensitivity, all of those traits are very, very, very attractive, especially for you, woman. When you see a man embodying any of those characteristics, you most likely are going to be hypnotized very easily. So, yes, absolutely. Um, so, Marjorie says if you are curious to discover and explore the vast range of sexual desires and practices, there are online resources and interactive communities to learn and share from a safe, anonymous distance. Yeah, yeah, Marjorie, this is beautiful, and you're touching a very beautiful opportunity, right? Because there are so many different kinds of energies that we can explore in this intimacy, especially if you have a partner. And sometimes people don't have they are not doing this with partners that they are like in a romantic relationship with. Sometimes people actually get together to experience these energies. And sometimes they can be dark energies, sometimes they can be dominant and submissive energies, sometimes it can be like a little girl and little boy energies. There are so many different kinds of, they call it musical notes, like the same way that in music you have a lot of different notes and you can create lots of different chords. There are so many different textures of energy that you can play with. And as long as there is consent, clear communication, clear boundaries, normally when you do this with others, you have safe words. It doesn't always have to be sexual. Sometimes there is not even physical touch to explore these energies. So you can really create and experience whatever you want with the level of safety that you need. And you can do this with your partner too, absolutely. Yeah. Mm. Do you guys, we have 7 minutes left. Do you guys have anything that you would like to ask? Any any experience you want to share or anything that you would like to bring to the space? And the other day, also, in the other talk I did, someone was talking about what is the blueprint of sacred sexuality, right? What are the steps to follow to create sacred sexuality? And today we are talking about desire, and we have talked a lot about how to act on those desires with your partner. So, some blueprints, some steps that you may follow that are important are safety, making sure that whoever is involved in the interaction feels safe, clear communication and consent, having a safe word, being present and being attuned to each other in the sense that if I am present, I can sense if my partner is feeling okay. If my partner is constricting, then I will leave I will try my best to be attuned to what's happening and then act alike, right? I'm not just gonna be doing without paying attention. Because if I'm doing that, that means that I am not being present. That means that I'm being unconscious. And then it can go bad really quickly. So those are some of the steps that you can follow. Yeah, so what is meant by chemistry with someone? So, Becca, when you talk about chemistry, sometimes that chemistry can be that you are involved in a dynamic that you understand. Sometimes chemistry can be, um, yeah, you being involved in a dynamic that you understand and the other person is playing with you in that dynamic. and that can feel like chemistry, but it's really a dynamic that is starting to form. And sometimes it is not to the highest self for us. So for example, sometimes if I am with a person, that if I am people pleasing and the other person is following with my people pleasing, and then we engage in that kind of cycle, I may feel chemistry in the sense that, oh, this person is playing with me, and what I'm doing kind of has a reaction on her, and then that can feel like chemistry. Sometimes chemistry can be like a very energetic connection with someone on a deep level, and then you just feel resonance with that person, and that can be because you are on the same kind of energy vibration. That can be sometimes because you are seeing something on that person that you are attracted to, and that creates some sort of resonance for you, and kind of chemistry. Sometimes when someone is able to give you presence and give you space, and that person is seeing you, sometimes you may feel like um, yeah, chemistry happening, because maybe you don't experience that very often. So there are many different um, ways of describing that, and I'm curious to know if you guys, how will you describe that chemistry that you feel sometimes? What do you think that is? I feel like I use my sexual energy for energy work. Yeah, Claudicia, sexual energy is life force. It's the life force that creates everything, right? So anytime you are being creative, anytime you are being, um, yeah, designing something, creating something, anytime you are setting boundaries, anytime you are loving someone, anytime you are creating a container like what I'm doing now, all of that requires sexual energy. You are using your life force uh, to create, to manifest, to move, right? So yeah, absolutely. It's there is a very strong connection with yeah, sexual energy and life force, and the chakras, all the energy that vibrates through your body, and then how you use that on a daily basis. It's very connected. And that's why sometimes when we say that we may have blockages uh, in that energy, that has an impact because it's sexual energy. And sometimes when you enter the sexual arena and you notice sexual blockages, most likely those blockages are going to show up in other areas of your life too. And in the sexual arena, you have the opportunity to be in touch with those. And when you can unblock them, when you can reframe them, when you can become aware of them and change your relationship with them, that's going to have an impact also in other areas of your life, not only in your sexuality, because everything is connected, right? Amazing. So, guys, thank you so much for another beautiful session exploring another area of sacred sexuality. Yeah, thank you for showing up. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being curious and open to desires, to what they may be telling us, ways that we can share them more openly, ways that we can receive them more openly. And yeah, so I hope that you can take from this session what you can take from this. I hope is that you get more in touch with what is it that you desire, and that you can allow yourself to share that more freely and openly with the people that you feel safe with the people that you want to do that with. Always with consent, always with safety, and always with the intention of just being curious, not having an agenda, not imposing anything, just being curious, being playful, and hopefully having a good time exploring these desires and learning from them. Okay? So I hope to see you guys next week. Um, and until then, I hope that you guys have an amazing rest of your day and rest of your week.